Come on, fellas, let's keep working hard on a big improvement leading into this next European cycle, okay?
Message.
Oh. More transfers for HK. They are splashing that Champions League cash. Should I be worried? I'm sure we'll be fine. Should I be worried though? Hello everyone and welcome back to Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today in episode number 117 we are into the League Cup, trying to win this for the 9th time out of 10 in this save. Of course, the one year that we did miss out on winning this competition, we got knocked out in the semi-finals by Dieldabikar, and that is the first game we will have coming up in today's episode before potentially a clash with our fellow Champions League group stage team from the last European season in HK. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, we will also give you guys a potential little preview on our upgrades that we have made since we did get knocked out of the Europa League in yesterday's episode. Then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as I said, we are doing this League Cup episode today off the back of getting knocked out of the Europa League in yesterday's episode by Arsenal. If you missed that episode where we did get gunned down, unfortunately, I'll leave a link to it in the top right corner, but hopefully we can bounce back today and get our hands on the Dieldabikar yet again, and as I said, win it for a 9th time in 10 years in this save. But before then, we have sold a player and rejigged our first team around a little bit going into these games now that we have finished the previous European season. But before we get into that, we have played one game off the back of that loss in yesterday's episode to Arsenal in that second knockout round of the Europa League, just confirming that we would make our way through to the semi-finals of the Dieldabikar. Of course, we did pick up a 6-0 win in between those legs against Halkar with our rotation team, Bjarki Bjarkason with 4 goals and Fabio Mariano with a double, and off the back of that, a 6-1 win heading into this one, a hat-trick there to Chaka Traore and goals to Nygaard, Deprisco and our new striker, Aguirre. They did get one back late, but another very comfortable win for us there in our Dieldabikar group. That meant that we went through extremely comfortably, and as you saw on screen before, we will be playing Dieldabikar in the semi-finals. The other semi-final is going to be HK taking on NxGn. If we do take on HK, we might come back before that game and have a look at where they have been improving, because they are certainly spending that money that they did get for making the group stages of the Champions League last season. They have been very, very active in the transfer market. Even if they aren't spending big amounts, they are certainly really trying to improve the overall depth of their squad there, it does look like. But we haven't quite finished our transfer business just yet. Still doing a little bit of work heading into the start of the new European season, which will hopefully start about Friday my time, Thursday your time here on the channel for the new European qualifying cycle. But we have just rejigged our team heading into these last few games of the Dieldabikar now that, of course, we have been knocked out of Europe, so we don't have to worry about some players not having been registered for the rest of the Europa League in that regard. So here is what our team does look like going into this first game of today's episode. One thing you might note immediately from the go, there is no Basaro Gay. We have not sold him, but he has left early for an upcoming international break between now and the League Cup final, so he is unavailable for this game. Might also be unavailable for the final, but we have not sold him. He's just not here at the moment because of international duties as Basaro Gay. That is why Galtason is there in the DM role. But apart from that, this is what I'm hoping to go with for this upcoming European season, at least for now. The big change in terms of our lineup, it is mostly in defence. We have replaced Elias Anderson with Ali Ramadan at centre-back. He looks like the best centre-back at the club at the moment. Actually, Elias Anderson should really be the second best centre-back, but Thiago Polo has been such a good performer for us over the last few seasons. It does feel bad getting rid of him from this first rotation. So I think we're going to go into this new season with those two as our centre-back partnership, with a good run-through of the squad in tomorrow's episode when we do the end of European season roundup prior to getting stuck back in to Champions League qualifying for the next European season. But apart from that, Kenny Boreal comes in for Alejandro Meza at left-back. Alejandro Meza, we have done a deal for. He is going to be leaving the club when the European transfer window does open at the start of July, and he is going back to Argentina to join Rosario Central is the Argentinian left back, as I said when we signed Kenny Boreal a few episodes ago, getting someone in who looks a little bit better than Alejandro Meza and doesn't take up a foreign spot. That did look like quite a good idea, and we did make a good profit on this transfer. We signed him a few seasons ago for £750,000. He is going to Rosario Central for £4.5 million with a percentage of next sale clause included in that deal for us as well. So that's a good profit there after picking him up a few seasons ago for £750,000. Wasn't terrible for us, but didn't quite perform to the levels that we were hoping for a foreign player. We'll free up one of those foreign player spots where hopefully we can add some quality to the squad when the opportunity does come up. So it's a big bit of transfer news that we have made off the back of yesterday's episode, getting rid of Alejandro Meza. Kenny Boreal comes into the team at left back. Looks like a good upgrade there. As I said, we'll have a good look at him in tomorrow's squad rundown before the next European season. As I said, our midfield is the other area of change. Of course, Basaroge would usually be there if he wasn't on international duty, but alongside him now still Kalen Rakasan. Of course, he was brilliant for us this past European season, but our new signing Lassana Doumbia, who we signed prior to that tie against Arsenal in yesterday's episode for £7 million, he usurps Karel Giroux to become our starting box-to-box midfielder. That means that Karel Giroux can actually drop down to the bench, and that looks like a good little spot for him because he can, of course, play both normal midfield and defensive midfield, so he is a really good bench option for us and a high-quality one as well. And our front three for now is going to remain the same. We've got Zimmerman out right, Larson out left, and Benjamin Rubio up front. We might look at integrating Matthias Aguirre into that starting spot. Of course, that is the young Peruvian striker we did sign a few episodes ago for a cheap price out of his home nation. He does look like he might be a little bit better than Benjamin Rubio, but we might just wait and see off the back of this upcoming international break whether that's something that we do leading into the Dieldabikar final, or if we do that leading into the start of the next European season instead. But just a few changes to our first team going into this Dieldabikar semi-final. As I said, hopefully we can beat Breidablik. If we have a quick look at the season preview, you will be able to see exactly how these teams that we might be playing in today's episode do stack up. Breidablik are predicted to finish 5th on the table, albeit ranked at £51 odds. It's a pretty similar case for most of the teams left in this stage of the Dieldabikar, except for HK, who are quite clear second favourites behind us here for the domestic title this season. But we are absolutely red-hot favourites with those recent transfer additions that we have made. So we absolutely should be winning this League Cup for the 9th time in 10 years. And we'll come back shortly and hopefully get that underway from the Husavik Heroes with a win in the semi-final against Breidablik. And 4 minutes gone, we have the first highlight of this one. We being at home are in the green, Breidablik in the white and black. One notable player in their team is our former midfielder and Flavio Trubia, but Nicholas Zimmerman opens the scoring with a great free kick there into the top right corner. That is exactly the start that we wanted. We go 1-0 up nice and early thanks to a Perla free kick by Nicholas Zimmerman. And 10 minutes later, we do have a throw in here for Breidablik, our opposition today. You can see behind my head potentially HK are 1-0 up there against Nats KR. That could be a very tasty final in this competition. As I said, if they do make their way through the final, we might have a look at how those guys have been travelling in the transfer market, because as I said, they have been very active, spending a fair bit of money that they did get from that Champions League campaign where they did make the group stages. Hopefully, we'll still be better than those guys, but we will wait and see if we do meet them in the final off the back of an upcoming international break. There will be a gap of about a week and a half in between those games. But nice work there from Nicholas Zimmerman. Gets past his man, and that's a poor tackle there from one of the Breidablik defenders, and we will get a penalty. I presume it will still be Kalen Rakasan on these, and he has the chance here to put us 2-0 up right on the 15-minute mark. He goes right down the middle. Goalkeeper guesses aside and comes out on the wrong side of it. Kalen Rakasan will put us 2-0 up. So far it's set pieces which are proving efficient for us here against Breidablik. A free kick after about 5 minutes, and now a penalty at the 15-minute mark. 2-0 Volsungur early in this League Cup semi-final. And that is half-time in this League Cup semi-final. Just those two highlights for 2 goals in our favour, and we are tracking very well, as you can tell by those stats there. Breidablik yet to fire a shot against us. We are going to make some changes here at half-time. Ali Ramadan on a yellow card. Gaetano de Prisco will come on for him. Also, Kalen Rakasan dropped down to a red heart late there in that first half, so Karel Giroux can come on for him as well. So 2 of our subs used at half-time, but we are in a pretty strong position here. 2-0 up with 45 minutes left in the semi-final. And there's a very early highlight here in the second half. It is a free kick there to Dieldabikar, which was quite close to the goalkeeping area. So he does take it, but we do win the ball back in the air and ping that out to Fredrik Larsson down the left-hand side. Plays that in for Karel Giroux off the bench, back in there for Lassana Doumbia, hoping for big things from him in this upcoming season. A big purchase, 19-year-old French midfielder. Hopefully, he can really improve us this coming season. Great chance there for Fredrik Larsson. Forces a decent save there out of the Dieldabikar goalkeeper to keep it at 2-0 here early in the second half. We'll see if anything does come from the subsequent corner, but Flavio Trubia, one of our former players, does deal with it, and it looks like it's going to remain 2-0 here early on in the second half. They do commit a free kick there on Benjamin Rubio, and that is the end of that highlight. Still 2-0 early in the second half. And just past the hour mark, we are going to make our last substitution. Lassana Doumbia is down to a red heart. We don't really have too many options on the bench in terms of midfielders, but apparently Matthias Aguirre can play there, so we'll bring him on there for Lassana Doumbia. We'll switch him around with Karel Giroux for the last half hour. He's not quite at full fitness as Aguirre. Our under-19 team is still in the UEFA Youth League, and hopefully potentially has a chance of winning that competition, so he's getting quite a bit of game time down there, but we'll see what he can do in the midfield for this last half hour with a 2-0 lead. And with 10 minutes left to go in this game, we have another highlight. Hasn't been too much going on in this game in terms of highlights, but we have looked quite comfortable in terms of stats and the highlights that we have seen. 3 highlights, I think it is, for 2 goals so far in this game, and maybe we'll get a chance here to extend it, or Dieldabikar might pull a goal back here and make things interesting late on. But that's a nice ball there from Fredrik Larsson. Doesn't quite find its way to Benjamin Rubio, but the Dieldabikar goalkeeper just clears that out to John Matthews, and we're pretty safe there and get possession back nicely, and we'll hopefully look to launch another attack here fairly shortly and try and wrap this game up for good. Nice ball there from Zimmerman, gets him behind the defence, and Fredrik Larsson will pick up a double on a yellow card, and that will surely seal things. With only 10 minutes left, we'll be making our way through to yet another League Cup final, and we will be doing it hopefully off the back of a nice comfortable win and hopefully a clean sheet as long as things go well here inside these last 10 minutes. It's a nice ball there from Zimmerman, just gets him behind the Dieldabikar defence, and Larsson tucks it away to make it 3-0 here late in the semi-final. And that is full time in this one. As I said, late in that second half, it wasn't a game of too many highlights, but we certainly were the better team and make our way through to the final off the back of a 3-0 win. I can tell you guys that HK quite comfortably won that other semi-final as well. You'll see it on screen once we do get through all the post-match stuff here, but it is going to be a very tasty matchup in the final between the 2 teams that made the group stages of the Champions League this past season. Us against HK, who did score a few more goals there against Nuts Chaos. That could be an interesting matchup, especially with all their recent additions. We'll come back before the final to show you guys what those guys have been doing, as they could be a team which really helps us out this upcoming European season down in Conference League qualifying before we take them on in the final and try and make it 9 League Cups in 10 years. And we are back a few days prior to the League Cup final against HK. We'll take a look at the transfer business those guys have been doing in a minute, but we have just hit the NxGen list for 2031, and for the first time in this save, there are some Volsungur players in the top 50, albeit very much down the bottom of that list, and also some quite new additions to the club as well. Lassana Doumbia is ranked 35th on the NxGen list, so he looks like a great pickup there when we did get him at the start of yesterday's episode. And also Matthias Aguirre sneaks in at the 50 mark, so he maybe should be a player that we do start prioritising as a starting striker over Benjamin Rubio. Maybe that's something we'll get onto before we do crack into the roundup of Europe in tomorrow's episode. He might get that starting spot prior to the league season, but that's probably not actually the biggest news from this list, because making our way through this list and scouting some players, I did notice that number 12, Thomas Teshi, is a player who is on a youth contract at Sparta Prague. So I have offered him a contract. I have no idea how good he is, but he obviously will be quite good being ranked number 12 on that NxGen list. We'll only have to pay him £55,000 in compensation for this transfer, so that could end up being a very good bit of business here, even if it does mean we're going to be quite overloaded in terms of young strikers at the club, with the likes of Joe Nata and Fabio Mariano still here as well. But hopefully he might end up being a good right-wing option for us as well, and could be a player who makes his way into the first team sooner rather than later, but Thomas Tishi, a player that we have offered a contract to, seeing as he was ranked 12 on that NxGen list and was the only player on the NxGen list who was on a youth contract. But good to see for the first time in this save that we do have two of our own players as part of this list, albeit, as I said, quite new additions to the club, and Lasana Dumbia and Matthias Aguirre. But we are about to take on HK in the Dieldabikar final. That is the team who did win it the 1 year that we haven't won it so far in this save. And if we go and have a look at their most recent transfer history, you will see they have spent a fair bit of money when you consider they are an Icelandic team. Of course, it's not going to be anything like what we've been spending because we've had quite a few years now in European football, but 2.1 million for a fellow Icelandic club is quite a bit of business. It is fair to say. They have made a deal for Mikael Bajrasicki permanent, one of our loans that we did make last season. He is now a HK player. That does not show up on this list, but you can see there that they have added 7 players to their team. One name that might be a bit familiar to you guys is Luis Fernando. That is because he is a player who spent a few years here at Volsungur. He never made a first team appearance. We did loan him out quite a few times, but he comes back to Iceland now as part of that HK team. He is a tall, good aerial threat. He could be interesting from set pieces for those guys. They spent £145,000 to get him back from Brazil. They've got a few free transfers there as well. Magnusson from Valarakiewicz. They've got Semedo, who they picked up as well. He looks like an interesting midfielder for them there at 2.5-star ability. And they've also spent a bit of money on some players as well. Silvio Alinkovic, they have got him in the Bosnia and Herzegovina player there again, around about that 2.5-star current ability and potential for that midfielder. But they are certainly strengthening up that area of the pitch. They've signed a right back out of Peterborough in England, the Ghanaian in Thomas Agiamang. They have also spent the most amount of money in this transfer window so far on Jimmy Talmalainen, I believe is how you might say that, from HJK. He looks like a decent prospect with that 3-star potential. Not too sure exactly what position he does play. It looks like maybe an attacking midfielder. So they are certainly trying to up their midfield level in that squad there at HK. And they've also signed Piotr Mataziski. He is another player around about that 2-star current ability and potential. So maybe that shows that HK did need to add quite a bit of depth to that squad that they do have there at the moment. But looking at those abilities of those players, they potentially could still use those players that they do have on loan from us at the moment, even if they are going to be unavailable for this upcoming final. But that does mean this game coming up against these guys could be interesting, taking on a lot of new faces there at the club. The clear second favourites for the upcoming league season, as I said, a team that I have quite high hopes for in terms of Conference League qualifying this upcoming European season off the back of making the group stages of the Champions League this past European season. And we'll come back shortly from HK's home ground, so that could make things interesting as well for this League Cup final. And here are the team sheets for this League Cup final. There is going to be TV coverage, but we've actually got quite a bit to run through. There are some players who are still quite tired from the most recent international break, and also Basaro Gay has decided to go on a holiday off the back of that international break as well, so he is unavailable for this game as well. But we do have Tiago Polo starting at right back for this one. That is because John Matthews tired playing for Ireland in the most recent international break, and we also want to kind of see how he does get on out there as well. That could be interesting, being a bit more of an aerial threat at right back, as we did concede a few goals like that in that most recent European season. That means that Elias Anderson will partner Ali Ramadan at the back for us, and we've also got Karel Giroux stepping in there for Basaroge, of course, seeing as he can play in that DM role. We'll make sure we've got our best midfield available without him for the next couple of weeks. So Karel Giroux will step into the DM role alongside Dumbia and Rakasan in our midfield. But those are the changes that we have made. Matthias Aguirre, haven't quite put him into our first rotation yet, but he might get some game time off the bench in this game. Just having a quick look at HK, they do have quite a few of those players who they have recently signed, including our former player there and Luis Fernando. They have also got Anthony Palias and Ben Moose, of those guys former players of ours as well. And on the bench, their recent purchase from loan from us and Mikael Bajrasicki is down there as well. So there are certainly quite a few former Volsungur players here in this HK team, but hopefully we can get over the top of them and win our 9th League Cup in 10 seasons. And only 4 minutes gone for our first highlight here of this League Cup final is a throw-in for HK in their red and white stripes at home. We are in our green home uniform as well, and they do give the ball away to us there quite early on, and hopefully we can get off to a hot start like we did in that semi-final at home against Breidablik. But so far HK are pressing us into a little corner here around the halfway line down our right hand side, but we try and get away from that and switch it out to the left hand side, albeit it takes a little while, but we eventually start to do it, although just some short passing and patient play so far as we knock it about our defensive players. We just get that ball forward there to Kalen Rakasan and hopefully can finally launch into an attack here. Benjamin Rubio, nice ball there for Nicholas Zimmerman, starts to make his way out to the left-hand side, plays that back to Boreal, squares that one for Frederick Larson, and I think we are going to go 1-0 up after 5 minutes, but the goal has been ruled out for offside. It might have been that 1-2 there between Boreal and Zimmerman, although that does look like a very questionable call. Could have been robbed of a goal there nice and early, but nonetheless, still 0-0 after 7 minutes. And up to the half-hour mark for our next highlight off the back of that earlier one, which got ruled out rather harshly, I think it is fair to say, but Boreal puts the ball into the mixer. Doumbia gets his head on the end of that, but a pretty safe save there for Davidson in goal there for HK, and they will try and get something going in front of their home fans, albeit they just pump that deep to Elias Anderson, and we knock it about the back yet again. We've been quite patient when that has been the case so far in this game, and it does look like it is going to be exactly the same. HK just putting enough pressure on us here to keep us pinned inside our own half for the most part. We played it out to Tiago Polo outright, and he plays that back to his usual defensive partners. Will be interesting to see how he gets on as a right back, being quite highly rated. That could be something which we do try out potentially in this upcoming European season. Not that John Matthews has been doing too bad of a job, but he does get caught out defensively sometimes, especially in the air. But here's a chance for Benjamin Rubio. It's a Kenny Boreal assist, and this time we are going to go 1-0 up, 15 minutes shy of halftime. As I said at the start of that highlight, felt like it was a little bit harsh, that goal that did get ruled out earlier, but we eventually start making our way forward there, and Kenny Boreal with a nice ball over the top there for Benjamin Rubio. He keeps banging in the goals domestically. 1-0 Volsungur at the 31-minute mark. And a few minutes shy of half-time, we do have a corner here. Rakasan puts us into the mixer. Elias Anderson gets a header off, but straight at Davidson down the middle of the goal. And this highlight, again, looks like it is going to continue. It's been a pretty boring first half so far in terms of the stats, as we do get the ball back there from that clearance from the HK goalkeeper, but we have taken our chances when they have been presented and do have a 1-0 lead here. And Kenny Boreal yet again makes his way down the left-hand side, puts the ball into the mixer there, but Antonio Paldes will tidy things up, but Tiago Polo will hopefully get us back on the attack here, trying to find a chance there for Benjamin Rubio, but Davidson comes out yet again, and this highlight again will continue. They play a ball over the top. It falls nicely there to the HK striker. Thankfully, Husavik reads that chip, and it does look like we are going to be going into the sheds at halftime with a 1-0 lead. We have had the better of things, but XG-wise, not too much difference, so it certainly hasn't been the greatest half from us there. I think we are going to make one change at halftime. We've got a few players on yellow cards, and Tiago Polo just doesn't quite look like he's playing as well as I was hoping there at right back. So Andy Harwood, who can play on both sides of our defence, he can come on here for Tiago Polo for the second half. Someone who's a bit more natural at being a wing back, and we'll see how he gets on in the second 45 minutes, and hopefully we have a bit more free-flowing football with this 1-0 lead in this League Cup final. And up to the 59-minute mark, nothing happening so far in the second half, but Nicholas Zimmerman is down to a 6.4, so we will bring Chaka Traore for him for this last half hour as we try to wrap up this League Cup final with a narrow 1-0 lead for now. And up to the 66-minute mark, right off the back of that substitution, bring on Chaka Traore, and it's a good chance here for HK off a long ball, but thankfully that's a good save there from Husavik. Kenny Boreal has picked up a yellow card, but he's been quite good so far, so we won't take him off just yet. There's a missed header there by, I think that might have been Giroud, but thankfully one of our defenders does clear it away, and it does remain 1-0 with 23 minutes left, and we are going to make our last substitution here with Ali Ramadan down to a red heart. Gaetano de Prisco to come on for him with the scoreline still at 1-0. And shortly off the back of that last substitution, we will try and get something going here from deep inside our own half. We have switched the tempo up to a higher one because so far hasn't been too much going on in this game. It is fair to say good interception there from Frederick Larson, but unfortunately can't quite link up with Benjamin Rubio up top, albeit we might get the ball back there from that clearance from the HK goalkeeper, and we do, even if the HK striker did win the ball back for them there, thankfully. The goalkeeper able to tidy things up for us, and we will look to launch an attack here ourselves. Chaka Traore for an interesting ball there to Harwood. Not sure that's what was intended, but we eventually get it forward to Benjamin Rubio, but a good save there from the HK goalkeeper to keep it at 1-0 inside the last 20 minutes. And not too long off the back of that most recent highlight, we are back down the other end there for an HK corner, but thankfully Husavik does come out to claim that, but it's certainly nervous times in this cup final. We are far from looking at our free-flowing best, but hopefully we can really start kicking into gear here in these last 16 minutes and try and get a cushion goal to put this one beyond doubt, hopefully. Late, Frederick Larsson puts a ball far post for Chaka Traore, and that will do it, hopefully. It's a good header there into the top left corner, and after a number of chances where we could have made the scoreline 2-0 and also some decent chances there for HK as well, we do get our cushion goal. Frederick Larsson here down the left-hand side. It's a nice ball, far post, and good leap there from Chaka Traore to make the scoreline 2-0 with only 16 minutes left. And up to the 82-minute mark, HK are in possession yet again. To be fair to them, they are giving us quite a tough game here in this League Cup final, so that bodes well, hopefully, for their upcoming European season with all these new additions that they have made. But there is a terrible tackle from Alpha Semedo, one of their new additions, that will probably put pay to this one. They're down to 10 men. We have a 2-0 lead with 5 minutes left. And just about to approach injury time in this League Cup final. It is one more highlight potentially in this game. It is a throw-in to HK these days, down to 10 men off the back of that quite bad tackle there from their new signing in Alpha Semedo, but we'll see what they can do. We should be in a safe position here with a cushion goal against the 10 men, and now we do have the ball back. Chaka Traore placed to play one forward there to Benjamin Rubio, but we do tidy things up off the back of that long clearance there from HK, and hopefully can end this game in style. It hasn't been the most entertaining game, I think it is fair to say, especially stats-wise, but we've started to click into gear late in this one, and hopefully we can grab one more goal late here to make the scoreline 3-0. Nice little back flick there from Kalen Rakasan, I believe. Dumbia might have had a chance there from the edge of the box, but Andy Harwood drills that into the left-hand corner. That might be his first goal for the club as well. Indeed it is. That is a wonderful goal, and that's going to seal us the League Cup for a 9th time in 10 years. Just some good patient play here against the 10 men of HK. I thought Dumbia might try and unleash a shot there from the top of the circle, but it's a wonderful strike there from Andy Harwood, and that should see us take out this League Cup final 3-0 against HK. You can tell by the stats there, it's actually been quite an even game. We've just had quite a few more shots on target, and in the end, that is what matters, and that will be full time. It's quite a tough game, a lot tougher than the 3-0 scoreline would suggest. I'd say that our games against Troyes late last week in that first knockout round of the Europa League were a bit easier than that one, it did feel like. But in the end, that's a good solid win, especially with some new players coming into this team and still getting used to how we play here at Volsungur. And we are lifting the League Cup for a 9th time in 10 years off the back of a 3-0 win over HK in the final. And back in the inbox off the back of our 9th win in the Dieldabikar in 10 years. As you can see there on the past winners, we did not win it 4 seasons ago. I do believe that was the season that we did make the Conference League final, so I suppose our thoughts were probably a bit more on the knockouts of that competition than they were on the domestic one at that stage. That was the year, of course, we did get knocked out by Breidablik, but in the end we pick it up yet again here at Volsungur, and as I said, make it 9 in 10 years, albeit we don't get a heck of a lot of money for that one, especially when you do consider all the bonuses that we are paying out. And there you can see the review of the competition. Not quite sure how we're the overachievers in that competition, considering our odds for the domestic title in the league this upcoming season, but nonetheless, apparently we are the biggest overachievers. The biggest underachievers were Phil Kerr, but we get one over HK nice and early, and hopefully that means that we can go on and win the domestic league yet again this upcoming season, and that is of importance because yet again that is the only spot which will have Champions League qualification riding on it here in the domestic league in Iceland. But that will do it for today's episode, picking up the League Cup for the 9th time in 10 years. If you did enjoy it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. We will come back tomorrow at the end of May. We'll probably play that game against Nuts KR, seeing as they are one of the other teams here in Iceland who do have European qualification games coming up at the start of the next European cycle, also in the Conference League. I think we'll take those guys on tomorrow and do our end of European season roundup as well, see who has won the various European competitions as well as the top 5 leagues. And we should also by then have our opposition for the second qualifying round of the Champions League as well. So you'll figure out who we can play later on this week when we do get back into European football here at Volsungur. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.